Okay, so how you doing, guys? This is a little video I want to show you of a patient of mine. So a big shout out to Maddie at Form Strength and Mobility. If you're in Geelong, Maddie's a strength and conditioning trainer with a special emphasis on rock climbing and postural work. He's brilliant at what he does. This is one of his climbers who he sent along to me with some shoulder instability, and she'd had it like this for a long time. And so the reason I want to show you this video is because I want to illustrate that this FNFT stuff, this way of briefly manipulating soft tissue and fascia, is not just about pain, and it's not just about stiffness. It's about proprioception and control. So what Jeanette Travell described as a trigger point in a muscle, we tend to think of that in regard like a knot and how it refers pain. It's a lot less like a knot than we thought. However, the presence of those kind of restrictions in muscle don't just cause restricted movement and potentially refer pain. This patient had little or no pain, and yet the presence of protective myofascial restrictions in the muscles around the shoulder girdle, especially the Scapulo Costal joint, the scapula on the rib cage and its control, was very poor. And after only one treatment and then a second treatment was all it took. And my treatments, to be honest, she came in about pain in her foot, and treating the shoulder was a secondary matter. So we probably spent 5 or 10 minutes on it each session, but that was enough to restore function by restoring proprioception and restoring good symmetry and function, removing compensations for the shoulder. So let's just watch it. This is the initial. We'll just let it run again. You can see the difference in the two shoulders. See if you can pick it. After one treatment, 1 week later, let's see the difference. Beautiful. And after a third treatment, this is the final time. She's a rock climber. And let's go back to number 1. So we could see there was a real lack of control. If I can make this video work. In that left shoulder. The right shoulder comes straight up. The left shoulder, see how it shrugs and hunches, and the scapula rolls. Yeah, it can't do it. That left shoulder is really struggling to gain any scapulocostal stability. And didn't matter how many times she did this, that left shoulder just would not play the game. You see her whole body swings to the left. She's got the muscular strength, and this is the issue, is that these kind of restrictions in skeletal muscle can cause a loss of proprioception, which means muscle coordination is upset. Also inhibition, and so it will cause muscle weakness. Now, if specific stabilizing muscles are weak, then what traditionally, physiotherapists and all that would do is they'd try and strengthen that muscle. So they'd focus on a complicated strengthening program for that muscle. However, if there's a myofascial restriction in the muscle and we can release it within 5 minutes, then we can see all of a sudden that left shoulder blade is holding where it should. And for those of you that know your anatomy, you're going to be thinking of serratus anterior in particular, to some extent levator scapula as well, and to a lesser extent the rhomboids, and to some extent the pec minor. So your major muscles that hang on to the scapula and their supporting role were failing here. And it's just a great example of how much function you can change, how quickly you can change it. And she doesn't need ongoing treatment on that shoulder. She just needs to use it. And so by resolving inhibition or weakness, restoring proprioception, and facilitating a healthy functional range of movement, the beautiful thing is the body loves to function well. And so once you've restored symmetry and function is symmetrical and forces are well proportioned, the body prefers that. It doesn't like the asymmetry if it can avoid it. And so once it's on the right track, it doesn't need lots of treatment to keep it there. You've just got to keep using it with good form. Hope that's useful, guys. Yeah. Post a question, post a comment, post whatever you want. Thanks for being here.